Listen carefully, because what one former FBI profiler just said about the Nancy Guthrie case may be one of the most chilling interpretations yet. And if he's right, then the truth about what happened outside Nancy's home that night is far darker than many imagined. Let's get straight into it. Journalist Brian Enton says he is still actively working new Nancy Guthrie stories, even while traveling, showing this case remains a major ongoing focus behind the scenes. That matters, because when veteran reporters stay locked onto a story this long, it usually means one thing. There are still developments happening. There are still leads being chased. And there are still serious unanswered questions. Now enter retired FBI profiler Jim Clemente, a man known for behavioral analysis, crime scene reconstruction, and looking at evidence others may overlook. Clemente reportedly reviewed the porch video frame by frame, slowly, carefully, studying every movement, every shadow, every mark on the ground. And what he believes happened next is deeply disturbing. According to Clemente, the blood droplets found outside Nancy Guthrie's house were likely not caused by a simple cut, not a scraped hand, not a minor injury. He believes the pattern is more consistent with someone coughing blood after trauma to the face.
Think about that.
That would suggest Nancy suffered a forceful blow, possibly to the nose or mouth, strong enough to create bleeding from inside the airway. And then it gets even darker. Clemente says the blood placement indicates Nancy's face was very close to the ground, meaning she may have been on her knees,
Bent over,
pinned downward, or forced into a vulnerable position during the attack. That is a horrifying possibility, because if true, it suggests control, struggle, and a victim trying to survive in the final moments before being taken. According to his analysis, Nancy likely resisted.
She fought back.
And in response, the suspect may have struck her in the face to gain control quickly. That theory changes everything, because this would not look like an accidental encounter. It would look like a violent abduction. Targeted, physical, deliberate. Then comes one of the most mysterious details of all. The blood trail suddenly stops.
No gradual path. No continuing droplets.
Just ends. And Clemente believes there is a reason for that. He suspects Nancy was then lifted up and carried to a waiting vehicle, because if she remained walking or struggling on the ground, more blood may have fallen. But it didn't. So where did it go? If he's correct, it went into a car. And if that happened, then the suspect may have had transportation ready before ever approaching the home. Meaning this wasn't spontaneous. It was planned, prepared,
timed.
Now here's another major point from Clemente. He believes the evidence points more toward a single offender rather than multiple suspects.
Why?
Because the scene patterns appear controlled and direct, not chaotic or overcrowded. One person moving with purpose. One person taking risks. One person making decisions in real time. And yet, despite that planning, Clemente says the suspect may have made amateur mistakes. Big ones. A noticeable backpack. A face covering. Items meant to hide identity, but which may have done the opposite. Because masks, gloves, backpacks, clothing straps, all of them can trap DNA. Hair, skin cells,
sweat,
fibers. Tiny mistakes that stay behind long after the suspect is gone. And in modern investigations, those tiny mistakes can become devastating evidence. Now, let's talk about the ransom messages. At one point, suspected communications tied to a Bitcoin wallet created hope that Nancy might still be alive. But then, silence. The messages reportedly stopped after contact was attempted. No follow-up. No continued demands. Nothing. And Clemente says that silence concerns him deeply. Because in his view, it may suggest Nancy had already died by then. If true, those messages may not have been about negotiation at all. They may have been about buying time, creating confusion, distracting investigators, or making it appear the victim was still alive when she wasn't. That possibility is chilling, because it means every hour lost mattered. And then Clemente turns his focus to the suspect today. He believes whoever did this is likely living in fear now, watching coverage, following headlines, checking social media, listening to every new development, wondering if investigators are closing in. He may have changed his appearance, trimmed hair, shaved facial hair, sold a vehicle, changed routines, avoided certain people, acted nervous, snapped at family, withdrawn from friends. Because guilty people often don't just leave evidence at the scene. They change afterward, and those changes can expose them. Clemente believes the suspect may now be paranoid that DNA will catch him, that a behavioral mistake will reveal him, or that someone close will finally report suspicious actions from that night. And that last part matters more than people realize, because many major cases are not solved by dramatic confessions. They're solved when one person notices something strange. A sudden injury, unexpected money, odd late-night behavior, a vehicle cleaned too thoroughly, clothes thrown away, a story that keeps changing. And then that person decides to speak. So, where does this case stand now? We have blood evidence,
Surveillance footage.
behavioral analysis, possible digital ransom trails, and a growing belief that the person responsible may still be out there trying to look normal while pressure builds around them. If Clemente is right, this suspect thought the darkness would hide everything. But darkness doesn't erase evidence. It only delays discovery. And sometimes, the smallest mistake becomes the loudest clue. Thank you for being here and staying locked in as the story continues to unfold. And before you go, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment your thoughts below, and share this video for updates as the story unfolds. Your support helps keep stories like this in the spotlight. Stay aware, stay informed, and I'll see you next time.